same shit. Hey, I'm here. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get this thing running right. Oh, baby. I know it's been a while, and I know I'm late, but that's what bodily functions. And some reason I had trouble with my StreamYards too. That's why I'm extra late. I'm still having troubles. Huh. Okay. Let's see. Let me see if this thing is gonna poke in right or what. Or if I'm on the right screen or what. I don't know what I'm doing here. This thing is always... Man, this thing is fucked up. Hmm. Come on, man. Why am I not getting this right? Oh boy, this is a pain. This is a pain. which one is which. I'm stuck with this stupid shit. Okay, but I'm behind. I don't want to be behind. This is the problem right here. This is the wrong one. Hey everybody, sorry man, I'm having a little bit of difficulties, man, finding which one of these StreamYards. I'm having trouble figuring out which one of these YouTubes I'm supposed to be using. I've been struggling with this shit for the last 7 minutes. It's crazy. They give you two of them and they don't give you no real way to figure out which one is not behind the scenes. See, you're not supposed to be seeing all of this. This is behind the scenes stuff that's not supposed to be seen. And I've got it all twisted because I don't know which one is which. This is crazy. This is the one that says two are watching. But this is the one that is fucked up. Stay with me, people, please. Stay with me. If I get this right. Please just stay with me. Help me out here. Stupid old fool. Help a stupid old fool. Let me see what I can find, man. This is crazy here. Let me see if I can find the right one now here. This is crazy. I'm losing, I'm gaining, I'm losing. I can't get it right. I can't get right. I can't get right. Come on, people. Come on. Come on. Come on. Let me just find the right one. Let me just find that right one, baby. Come on, black man. Come on. Still not right. No matter what I do, it's still all twisted. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't understand why they don't make this shit. Look at that. I lost all my viewers. Oh man, this is crazy. This is fucking crazy, man. Oh, boy, 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 boy. How do I fucking stop this shit? This is the one with the good connection, right? Fucking shit. Man, that's all I can do. I can't fucking do no more. Shit won't work right, man. It won't work right. Maybe I didn't set this shit up right. I don't know. Same shit keeps happening every time. So I don't know. Hmm. Oh man, I'm sorry, people. I've had troubles like I've never had before. Today's just not a good day for me. I don't know. Everything's just going wrong. I just can't understand. Hey, I'm trying to get this right, people. I'm just doing a horrible job at it. I've never had so much problems like this before. It seems like it's getting worse and worse instead of better. Hey, oh, finally. Finally. Daggone. It took me all that time. Whew. All right, let's see what I can do here. Okay. We're not going to worry about that. What are we going to do? Hello, everybody. This is Indigenous Monstrosity, and I am Monstrositus X. I've been having a whole world of troubles today. Nothing was going right for me, but I'm finally here on the right stream. Okay, people. Uh, I'm out of it. I don't know what's wrong with me today, but it seems like everything I'm doing is going wrong. But I'm here, and I'm trying to get together, people. Uh, hey, Hoth, what's going on, baby? I was about to send you a link. Uh, I was just looking, trying to get my head together, man. Trying to get there. Some ever since I started today for 22 minutes, it's just been going wrong. Everything's just been going wrong. So I'm trying to send you a message, a link here. Oh, let me get this invite thing here. Coppage. Oh, oh man, I don't know what's my brain's been doing this. Okay, so that. So that, okay. All right. Let's see. All right, I'm back. All right, I sent you all links. I'm back here, people. I'm sorry I've been missing, but I've been missing in action. I was a wounded warrior. The lack of exercise and hanging out doing nothing basically. Hey, Hoff, what's going
Praise
on?
the God.
Praise the goddamn Hoff. How you feeling?
Feeling good. How you doing?
That's good. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. I had a little bit of ankle pain from inactivity, and
Ah,
it kind of kept me knocked out for about a week and a half. So I'm trying to get back in the swing, even though I've been working on my cloth figures. I'm uh, I'm no longer going to be working on that design that I've been showing. I'm gonna update that. I figured it doesn't make any sense to keep putting a lot of effort into that when I can be working on the next version, which I plan on doing right after this one. So why keep working so hard to get this one right when I could be working just as hard to get the next version right and make all of them the same? So that's what I was doing. So I started the three skulls that I've been showing in the videos. Uh, I've been connecting them to the armatures. So I'm gonna have like 5 or 6 of them working at one time, and that's gonna be a good thing. I'm gonna try and concentrate on one thing at a time and get things out because right now I'm not really doing well with production.
yeah, you got to do like an assembly line.
Yeah. And I got to focus on one thing at a time. I'm trying to write, I'm trying to draw, I'm trying to do so many different things. And I wind up overloading, I think it is. And I'm not getting anything done the way I want to. So, oh man, I left the paper downstairs because while I was laid up after that whole argument thing with uh Gargoyle, was pretty good because that was like a big payoff. The views was pretty good for my live streams. That was like 35 views or something like that. That's the biggest count I got. But there was things that I didn't like about how I handled it and
Hmm.
but I'm going to be adding things like the dozens because I did show that I could restrain myself and not act like a wild man or anything like that. But I shouldn't have let him talk to me that way and get away with it. I was too restrictive about my behavior. So from now on, the dozens are gonna are gonna fly. So when
Oh man.
somebody starts cracking jokes and getting crazy, I'm gonna crack jokes and I'm gonna get crazy, and it's gonna be brutal. It's not gonna. It's gonna be merciless. I'm telling you. So this is
I'm
where
not
I
gonna
can't. Huh?
I'm not gonna pick any fights with you.
Oh no,
That's for
no!
sure.
I'm not. It's yeah, well, because back in the day, see, I spent a lot of years taking care of my mom, so I kind of got out of the habit, kind of like an old warrior losing a little bit of getting rust on his skills, and he uh, he has to have something wake him up to, hey, remember who you were, and that's what he did. And back in the day, I would have been all over it. I would have been like, what? Bang, 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 and just firing away jokes. But I kind of like trying to be aware of the audience and trying to be respectful of the situation and everything. And it kind of made me lock up in the ways. So on that Sunday, I kind of said, hey, if this was you back in the days, you would have been throwing jokes and all kinds of stuff. You would have probably humiliated homeboy. Because that's how the dozens were. The dozens of somebody, I didn't even know it was called the dozens until I got older. Because it wasn't something like you did and say, hey, let's go play the dozens. That's not what it was. Somebody said something slick, just like how he did. And you be like, what you say? and that's when the jokes start flying. And we'd be all hanging around and everybody be laughing. And if you standing too close and you or you know, somebody will say a funny joke and you might have something to add to it. So you add on to the other people's jokes. Like there'd be two people back and forth telling jokes, trying to get the biggest laugh. And you'll tell a joke and try to add on to somebody else's joke, and then you'll be the target. So it'll go around like that. Oh, what you laughing at? And people will start cracking jokes on you. So you could be just standing there. I've known people walk up and heard people cracking jokes and go, oh, no, y'all dudes are on that shit again. I'm out. And walk the other way because they don't want to get caught up in it. So, yeah, that's how it was back in the day. It was like with fire. Only thing is like people say, yo, no moms, no family. But if you make a mistake and say, oh, your sister this or something like that, then all the gloves come off. So that's what he kind of took me back. So I kind of started writing jokes and all kinds of craziness. So, yeah. So from now on, I'm going to start. I'm not going to attack him or nothing like that, but I will be on my toes waiting for some slick stuff from the next time, and I will be firing off some rounds. So, and not only that argument made me think about my whole concept. And I came up with a whole lot of stuff in the last couple of weeks, man. I came up with like 3 different story, like a couple of them I can't talk about because I've been realizing I've been bringing up a lot of different topics and story ideas on a lot of that stuff, and I'm not really focusing on one story. And a lot of these stories I could use on some of my other storylines. Like I know I'm gonna have a cult in my might of Thug City story, but I don't know when it's gonna come in. It's gonna be sort of like, you know how Ra's al Ghul has his followers and stuff like that. So it's gonna be something like a cultish type of organization like that. And so I thought of how like when he was talking about the thing when I was upset with, I don't mind that he was shitting on my idea. It was that he wasn't saying, well, what about there's going to be people that won't agree with you. So maybe, okay, there'll be a group of people that might want to tear that down and give me a reason why they might feel that way. He wasn't giving any reasons. He was just saying, okay, people are going to shit on it because that's how people are. So I was thinking that I solved that problem myself because I was saying people shouldn't be put in prison. You kill them or let them go. So the people that you let go, maybe they start forming up and start attacking because they don't agree with things and they don't want to live the way they want to. People that so-called, because I never thought of it as some socialist thing. I just concepted it as what happens if you don't have money. If you have a society without money, how would that work? So I started breaking down all the ways. You see, I was breaking it all down because I thought about it. I thought about all of the different ways that you can make that type of a thing work. So that's what I was talking about. It never came across to me as some socialist perfect society, because that's not how I thought about it. I just thought, what would a society look like without money?
Right.
Because money is fake. It is something that we've agreed to accept as a means or as a commodity, a way of trade. So I understand all of this. It's not like I'm dreaming up something crazy. This is just that something that I do. I tend to live in some of my worlds that I create, and in order to do that, you have to dive in head first, and so that's what I was doing. It's just that he brought up a lot of good ideas, or as far as the opposite side, the negative, the adversarial side of it. Where would all of those adversaries? Where would the bad things come on? The conflict, because with a story with no conflict is not a story. So you're just wasting your time. So, and that's what happens with a lot of these SJW comic books. They have no conflict. It's all about whining about why y'all ain't looking at me because of my color, my sexuality, or whatever. Later for that, I'm talking about the story. I want to see story, content, and stuff like that. And so I came up with all kinds of ideas. I came up with like 5 or 6 different characters. I came up with 3 different cult ideas, because one for this story, like I said, the people who you cast out because they don't want to either act right. Of course, I know there has to be some kind of rules, but there doesn't have to be laws. They don't really have to be laws per se. But of course, if somebody's just going around murdering people for no reason and upsetting the fabric of life, of course, you're not going to want that around you. But so, you either, like I said, you kill them or you let them free, you banish them, and maybe they'll create their own type of society or whatever. I'm working on that. But I created a bunch of different things on that. I created like 3 different cult ideas. One of them was that. And then what else did I create? Man, I meant to bring up the envelope because I didn't have my book with me and my ankles hurting me so bad I couldn't get up and down the stairs. So, I almost wet myself up several times and all kinds of stuff trying to get back and forth to the bathroom. But it comes from inactivity. It used to happen to me back before my mom's passed. And during the winter times, I stopped walking the dog when it got really cold. And that same thing would happen during the cold months. Sitting around too much, poor circulation in your legs, and stuff starts happening. So I've been exercising and moving around and getting up and not sitting down so much. Make sure that I try not to. I forgot about that, and I guess I forgot about it. And with this whole illy ill thing going around and not moving and getting out the way I'm supposed to, the reminder came back and hit me with when I felt the hitting me. I was like, oh shit. Oh, come on, man. This is the last thing I needed. But it happened and I had to ride it out. And then, so I didn't get anything I wanted done. I didn't finish the song that rhyme that I was writing. I didn't finish anything. So uh, I'm starting all over this week again. But I did. Like I said, I started working on the armatures for for 3 of them. So altogether, I'll have like 4 or 5 of them, maybe even 6 working at one time instead of just 1 or 2. So that's going to make things go a lot faster. So I'm starting to, after today, today or tomorrow, I'm going to start making the rib cage part out of cloth and glue and caulking. And once it's going to take a few days for that to set up, and then once that sets up, I can start. Or I don't want it to totally set up. I want it like halfway, and then so that it can still stretch. And once I get it around the frame, then I'll let it finish hardening, and from there I can attach it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just say, just be careful with that caulking, because there's like some of it's toxic. You can.
Yeah, I know. I make sure to have open windows, and I got boxes of rubber gloves from when my mom's was sick. So I got all kinds of rubber gloves, and then I bought some more rubber gloves for the working with the clay and all of that stuff too. So I got a lot of rubber gloves. So yeah.
I was going to ask about the money thing. Have you heard of a term called fiat currency?
Fiat currency? No, I never heard of that. What's that about?
I don't really know. I think it kind of describes what you're saying about how money is just a symbol. It's the value that we put into it,
Yeah.
I think that fiat currency. I don't really. Maybe I can Google it and find out.
Yeah.
But
well, it just goes without saying. If you take a trip backwards in time in your mind, you'll go far enough back and you'll see nothing existed at some point. Even language, half of the things we talk about and we say today didn't even exist in the 1700s.
Yeah.
Like skyscrapers. You think skyscrapers existed in the 1700s? So there's a lot of things that if you think about it, if you keep going back, just keep going back. The further you go back, when we was living all in log cabins, we wasn't talking about cars, trucks, planes, and maybe not even paper money. Back then, it was probably just using gold and silver and stuff like that. So further back than that, you was just using furs and things and like that. So the further back you go, the more primitive a man is. You'll see that we didn't use money. We didn't need it. We didn't use half of the things that we use today. We imagine how much more efficient we were when we weren't dependent on animal skins, before we shedded all of our body hair in order to brave the weather. Because at some point, that's what we were. We were primeval beasts. We had hair on our bodies, and we lived in caves, and we hunted, and we used sticks and rocks and stuff like that. And that was when we was at our most free. Nobody told us to do nothing. We didn't have to pay for anything. So as you come forward in time, you'll see that all of these so-called freedoms that we claim to cherish are laws and restrictions that basically restrict your freedom. And yeah, I understand we need rules and all of that in the society, but if you look at it, the more and more you get laws and all of these things, they're just taking away your freedom. That's all these things do. Why can't we exist without those things? Why? Because people are going to kill each other. People already kill each other. I don't understand it. We already kill each other. So it's just choices that we make. We don't really need a law to tell us not to kill each other. We can do that anyway. It's just a state of mind.
Mhm.
Police don't get there before somebody robs you or kills you or whatever. They usually get there after the fact. So they're not protecting anything. They only get there after to clean up. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? There's a lot of things that people think are working in a certain way, but they actually don't. The police don't really guard from anything. They really are just cleanup service. That's really
Yeah.
what they do. They don't really get there and prevent anybody from robbing you or stopping, impeding you. If somebody's going to kidnap you or grab you or kill you, they get plenty of time to do it. That's why they trying to put all of these cameras and all of that craziness all over to watch every step that you take. This is ridiculous. And all of that, only thing that does is impedes your freedoms. The more afraid you are, the more you say, hey, I'm afraid. I got to watch what people are going to do because I'm afraid of people. Just saying, I want to restrict my freedoms. I want to take away my freedoms because I'm afraid. That's all it is. That's what everything is going on in the world. So that's why I look at all of these things and then I try to build worlds because I'm not no revolutionary. I'm not. I'm in my 50s. I'm not looking to change the world. I'm looking to create my own. And I've been living in my worlds. Like I said, I created like I created, you know how Gargoyle talk about furries and all of that stuff. I created like 3 different worlds with just animal-based stuff. Then I created I already had like 2 or 3 groups. I can't really talk about them, but I created like 2 or 3 more that are basically wrapped up in that same group cluster. So I can create like 5 or 6 different stories based around the same basic premise, all because of that argument. It had my mind going in overdrive on, for some reason, just trying to fix all of the holes that he was talking about. I just was dropping all kinds of things. It was just one after the other after the other. Oh, he was talking about hunters, right? Do you realize the hunter is probably the first person to ever name an organ?
An organ?
Yeah, a body organ.
You're right.
Think about it. The first person to probably ever say, hey, I'm eating this part
Yeah,
and gave it a name was probably a hunter.
definitely.
Of
No, it wasn't
course.
the doctor. 'Cause
And
doctors.
you got that right. It wasn't nobody's doctor. You got that right. So you see where my mind goes is I think of the littlest, smallest details, and I try to break it apart until it can't be broken down anymore. And then I rebuild it until I find the story idea. And that's why I've been doing this for so long. That's why I have all of these stories, because every 5 seconds, if I let my mind go, I'm watching TV, especially if I'm watching something I like, I'll come up with 3, 4, 5 ideas in a week's time easily. So I have to stop myself. I literally have to say, no, I'm not going to think like that because I've got so much stuff that I haven't even worked on yet. And I just keep stacking it up.
Something I sometimes do is if an idea hits me, I'll write. I'll sketch down the idea, and then I'll also write what I was watching when it dawned on me, because
I
that might
do
help
that
me.
too. I do
Yeah.
that all the time. You know how many different characters and story ideas The Thing has created? And
The thing.
Akira, if you've seen Akira, how his body morphs and turns and transforms, and he can control it. He wasn't able to control it, but that whole body morphing with that ability to like integrate metal and concrete and all of this stuff into his body, all of that stuff goes through my brain, and like it's like fertilizer, and it plants all kinds of seeds in my mind, and just stuff grows. And I love that stuff. I can watch it forever, and I got books upon books of just notebooks just so that I could write down stuff. I have those hard-covered marble composition notebooks, and then I have those 70-page spiral bound notebooks, so that one book I could write all my ideas and characters, and the spiral notebooks is where I write all my stories and my plots and my breakdowns and everything like that for writing my story. So in my Bible, I have all of these characters and I have these story ideas. Just like how you say, sometimes I'll say this idea, think of the creature from The Thing, or think of the creature from the 20 Million Miles to Earth. I don't know if you ever seen that, but
No.
it's a really old movie back from the 50s. Rocket ship crashes on Earth, and this little 2-foot creature comes out of it, and our atmosphere interacts with it, and it starts growing. And as it grows, it becomes more terrifying, and it breaks loose and starts killing people, and it gets to be man size and then elephant size, and then it gets real big and starts climbing all over the Colosseum in Rome and breaking stuff down, and then they finally kill it. But it's one of my childhood, one of those old Ray Harryhausen movies with the stop action claymation creatures.
Yeah.
And
what's it called again?
20 Million Miles to Earth.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I like Ray Harryhausen.
Oh, he's one of my favorite, and that's one of his best. It's black and white. It might be colorized, but black and white. If I could get my hands on it, the last time I priced it, it was really expensive. But if I could get my hands on it, I'm going to get it. I got a lot of those old joints. I got the whole Sinbad collection, the Golden Voyage of Sinbad, Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger, 7 Voyages of Sinbad. I got a bunch of those Ray Harryhausen joints. Oh, Jason and the Argonauts. That's with the skeletons sword fighting. Oh man, that's one of those things that you never forget. Because I don't care what Game of Thrones did. You seen that first, way back in the 50s with Jason and the Argonauts, with Ray Harryhausen. They had to go on a mission to I forget the island, but it was supposed to be at the end of the earth, and they was looking for the golden fleece, and when they finally found it, it was being protected by a hydra, and they finally killed the hydra, and the people of the island who were protecting the fleece, they gathered the teeth of the hydra, and when they finally caught up to Jason and his men, they threw the teeth down into the soil, and these skeleton warriors popped up, and so they started attacking and going to work and killing off Jason's men, and it was crazy. For back in the day, at that time, back in the 60s, that was state of the art stuff. That's like computer graphics today, CG graphics today, and we never seen anything like that before. And we loved those movies. Those were like blockbuster movies back in the day. So love those movies. I could still watch those because the stories were better. They had to tell a decent story. They wasn't the best. I'm not gonna lie and say they was epic, epic stories, but they were memorable because, like I said, they tried a lot back then with everything. You really had a broad spectrum of genres back then between the giant monsters like them and some of those, and King Kong and Mighty Joe Young, and then the Dick Tracy type gangster movies and the detective movies and Gone with the Winds and the Ten Commandments and all of these different types. You had the religious stories. You had all these different types of stories. Now you can't even tell those stories because you're going to offend somebody's sensibilities. So all of those stories forced to die off. So I don't get it. Just because somebody's feelings.
Yeah. Also, yeah, you gotta watch out for people's feelings these days.
Yeah.
But that era, the 30s or 40s, this cinema was still like a brand new, burgeoning art form.
Yeah, it's only like 10 years old at that time. 10, 15 years old in the 30s. Because I think it started back in the 1918 or 1920s, early 1920s.
Yeah.
So my mom used to tell me about the movie theaters back then and paying a nickel and all of that. I'm like, wow, paying a nickel for the movies. So, yeah, imagine in the 20s, it's a nickel. And it's 100 years later, we got to pay way more than 100 times that. Wow.
Like the price of dinner is to go see the movie in theaters.
Yeah.
It's like $15 or something crazy, or $9.
Imagine taking a family. It's not just you. Shoot. We used to go to the drive-in theater and have a ball. You get to sit in the car, you put the microphone into the car window, sit there with your family, go get your eats. You can bring your food with you, all kinds of stuff. So it was cool. We used to sneak people in. I used to slide in between the back seat because we had a station wagon. So the third seat in the back flipped up, and then the second row of seat had a space in between, and I would slip right between those two rows of seats, and I would put a blanket over, and we get in for free. So yeah, that was ways that my parents used to save on however much it was, $5 back then. I think it was less than that. I think it was like only $2-3 per person. Yeah.
It's funny you bring up drive-in theaters, because I was actually thinking that would be a pretty decent way. I don't know. It might be a decent way for people to make money today.
Because people are not going to want to go back into movie theaters. They're trying to close them up anyway.
Right.
People don't, especially after all of this Corona thing. This ill stuff. I don't want YouTube to get me because they making all kinds of rules about talking about the ill now. So
right, you have to have a license to ill.
Yeah, so I'm this man. So you got to make sure that you quoting a specific doctor, and you better quote them right. Otherwise, they're gonna take down. They can take down your whole channel behind it. I'm like, wow, man, people are crazy with this.
Yeah,
it's just a virus. Daggone people. It's not even as bad as what they made it out to be. But let me get off of this topic because I don't want to say something. I don't want to say something and then my whole channel gets stamped. Yeah, man. But yeah, so yeah, I was gonna So I was just making up stuff left and right. I must have created more than 7 or 8 characters. I'm not sure if some of them weren't repeats though, but because my book was all the way up here on the 3rd floor, I didn't feel like climbing up the stairs, so I said the heck with that. So I just was writing it down on an envelope, and I came up with a couple of groups. I came up with a group of people. Man, I want to be able to talk about them, but I don't know where am I going to be using them. If I'm going, when I could use them, I don't want to blow them up because I've been giving away all of my good ideas, and I don't. That's not what story time was meant to be. Story time was meant for everybody to collectively throw ideas into the pot. Not me fertilizing the world with all of my ideas, man. It's just when it was just a closed session, just a couple of us. But this is going out to the world, and I don't want to be giving away all of my ideas. I've already put out like 3, 4, 5 different ideas on story time with the Elfishis, the bounty hunters, and then I've talked about my stone god and the twin assassins, and I've talked about the soul fire lords, both versions, and I've talked about the god tomb. Man, I've talked about so many of my stories. I got to start focusing and keeping it on one thing. I can't keep giving away all of my stuff. So I got to start focusing on just a few tight. I've already put a few ideas out there, so I'm gonna keep those. But from now on, I'm gonna have to start putting a bear trap on my mouth because I love to talk about my stories. I wish I could just sit here and just really break down one of my stories, just go to work and just freely spill my guts. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about with how much I put into my story. And I'm telling you, I know you might have gotten a sense just from the way I talk about my stories already that how much I might have put into them, because I think you the one guy especially who said, yeah, I like that story and you need to put it out or something like that. But yeah, but I really need to get to writing and drawing more and more, and that's what I'm planning on doing. I hope to get it done this week. I need to start putting out more videos, some drawing videos, and all of that.
Same here.
Gotta be patient. You an artist too?
I'm trying to. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf. I'm trying to get back into drawing and.
All right.
Like
I know you said you had a story that you was working on, but I didn't know that you was an artist.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm okay at drawing, but the concept, story concept, I
was an okay artist too. You have to put the time in. You have to put the time in and the effort.
It's like learning an musical instrument.
Yeah, you don't get better unless you work at it. You seen some of my early stuff, the colored stuff that I've done. That's some of my earliest stuff that I still have.
That stuff's good.
And that's when I was about 19, 20. So that's like 40 years ago. They're going close to it. So that's what I'm saying. And I was just starting to get my head into it. I had a friend who was in art school, and he was coming with his colors and all of that stuff. So I was buying markers and I was sitting down practicing all the time, trying to get good. And really, I'm telling you, I never went to school. It was all just practice, practice, practice. Seeing, buying muscle magazines and comic books and practice, practice. That's it.
I went to community college and took art classes, and I wish I would have done what you did. Just go straight for drawing comics instead of in art class. They kind of teach you like grayscale, color theory, all kinds of stuff that I think maybe can wait until you get the discipline of actually being an artist,
Yeah.
which is kind of more of a self-taught thing. I think I don't know.
I don't know because I never experienced that whole schooling situation of it, where I've checked out fine art, and I've witnessed things like the 16 Chapel. I never been to Rome or anything like that, but I know the painting. I know what the Sistine Chapel is. I know what some of those artists like Van Gogh, some of his stuff is. I recognize it when I see it, and but I've never really studied all of that, you know, technique and brush strokes and all of that stuff like that. I don't really know that stuff. All I know is really pencil and a paper. Piece of paper, because that's what I've always been able to afford. Yeah, that was all that was the poor man's freedom. For me, I was a poor kid that didn't realize I was poor because, like I said, I had that pencil and some paper, and I was able to use that to help myself until I was able to get some money of my own to where I could buy markers and learn a little and practice things. Even that drawing right here, this one of with the yellow hair, that's a character I created. He's a wild man. He's kind of like a barbarian, and I think his name is, what's his name? Baramis Sten, something like that. I know it's written somewhere, but I created him back in the 90s. I think it's like 93, 94. And
Well, I gotta say, your audio is kind of like crackly or like digital. The audio sounds kind of funny.
my
I can
audio
still
is off.
I can still understand what you're saying, but it sounds just a little bit like crackly.
Robotic.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know what the problem is. I don't even know
Anyway,
what to do about it.
okay, just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah.
But
Is
yeah,
there echo?
no, not really. No echo. Just
Okay.
um. Well, I was
All
gonna
right.
say, artists like I think that inspiration is almost a better fuel for artists than training or
Desire.
desire. Yeah, there you go.
Desire, man. That's what drove me more than anything else, was seeing those comic books and John Byrne and Frank Frazetta and Conan the Barbarian, John Buscema. Those guys back in the day, they drew, for me, abdominals and faces and hands. Those, they drove me to want to get my stuff as good and to where I can replicate or close to replicate what I saw them doing. The abdominal shapes and how they put in their abdominal muscles. Those were the things that really drove me, and the leg muscles and the fingers and how they would make their fists and their hands. And how John Byrne he did his faces, and he had his stylized way that he did faces, and and his depiction of the pectoral section, right, that led right into the abdominals. He separated the abdominals from the pecs with that, and that's where I got my style of drawing from, because John Burns and then uh, Frank Frazetta, from the pecs down, he had like 20 abdominals. He had like a 20 pack. He never most on average you give your character like a 6 pack. That's it. But Frank Frazetta, he had a 20 pack all the way down like a reptile. He had his long abdominals, smaller pecs, but these long abdominals with all of these muscles, man. And I just loved it. I knew it was wrong, but I loved it. And he drew the best shoulders and biceps and forearms and his fingers and everything for painting. I thought it was just phenomenal. And I was always wanted to learn how to paint, but I was afraid because I didn't have the money for the canvases and all of that, the oil paints and stuff like that. So I didn't have no way to practice to get better with paint. So I never got the chance to mess with paint. And
mm-hmm.
But markers, that's the only thing I was able to mess around with. And then I kind of, like I said, I had a wild, crazy life in my 20s. After like 24, 25, I was getting crazy until like my 30s, mid 30s, and then I started slowing down. So now I'm bringing all of that craziness back with me. I'm not that nerdy kid that just sat in a room imagining things. I lived some of the craziness, you know, and so when I talk about some of the things that I talk about, it's not just because I'm imagining things or anything like that. I've actually witnessed some craziness in my lifetime, and I want to put these into my stories now. And with my love for comics and horror and fantasy stuff, all of this stuff combines in my head, and I come up with 5 or 6 different genres of storytelling that I really love. I really love fantasy stuff, any type of dragons and knights and wizards. I love that stuff. Uh, Futuristic stuff. I'm in love with any type of futuristic outer space stuff. I love outer space. I've always loved outer space, fascinated with it. And so stories like Blade Runner and Star Wars, man, took my mind in wondrous places. And then when I started seeing animated movies like Heavy Metal and Lord of the Rings and the animes like Akira and Ninja Scroll and Nausicaa of the Warriors of the Wind, or whatever it's called now. It was just called Warriors of the Wind back then. But seeing all of these things just fueled me. And Fire and Ice was another good one. That was real primal and primitive story. So all these stories, and it was the first stories where I actually saw blood and real serious action, people killing each other in animated form. And I loved it. And that's why my first Stone God story, I didn't draw it. I was doing a lot of sketching I did a couple of videos. I gotta go back to that and try to finish off with the rest of the drawings that I was doing, because I have to get back into my Stone God storytelling. But that story was really based on just that fire and ice, that primitives. It didn't need a whole lot of clothes, and it could have just been all action and really easy drawing, because everything is primal or out in the woods, and or big slabs of concrete or stone. So I figured I could do wonders with a story like that. But nowadays I want to take it deeper. I want to go a lot more deeper. I want to draw a whole world and have the whole clothing and all of that mythical scenery and backdrops and all of that. Man, I want to do all of that stuff. So if I can, how's that better? My
Yeah.
voice? Oh yeah, I was too far away from the mic. That's what it was. um, yeah. So yeah, all of that storytelling just comes from always being fascinated with all of these different types of worlds that I was introduced to at a young age, between comic books, and then my love for comic books just came from, I guess, being so much or believing so much that I was a mutant back in the days, because things hit me so much the same way. When I turned 13, I was afflicted with this uh, restrictive uh, disease, I guess my father passed down to me. So, and then I kept it a secret. So I had a secret identity, and I felt like I was, and I was really athletic. I ran around a lot, so I got picked a lot. I was one of the faster kids on the block, so around my neighborhood. So I got picked a lot for athletic stuff. So I felt like I was kind of like blessed in ways, and so I felt like a mutant. I felt like an X-Man, and then I felt like a Spider-Man, because he had to keep his identity from people. And so all of these things helped me to get lost in my own world and find my own way of thinking and creating things, and making those cloth figures to play with when I didn't have, because I had a twin sister to play with, but she's a twin sister. I couldn't play with a twin sister the way I could play with a twin brother. So when she wanted to go off and do her own thing with her Barbie dolls or whatever she wanted to play with, and I didn't want to play with no Barbie dolls, I had to go make my own adventures. So that's what I would do. I'd go and make my own dolls or whatever they was. So I have all of these different ways of looking at things, whether I can make something. This whole creating my own thing has always been with me, but I just never got the opportunity until now. Uh, and mostly because it was probably my fault. I restricted myself, my frame of mind at that time. But now I feel that the only restrictions are the ones I put on myself, that there are no other outside restrictions that can stop me. I have the materials to draw the stuff. I have the creative mind to draw the stuff. I have the storylines to draw and create the stuff that I need to create. And so all it is me getting up and sticking with it. And that's the mindset that I'm struggling with, to get back into that, back when I was young, getting there and sitting there and drawing every day, or drawing for hours and hours and hours nonstop, without worrying about the world around me. And right now I'm worrying about the world around me. And I'm getting lost in a lot of things that well, I have no choice but to get lost in, because that's life. But finding that groove and getting lost in that realm, and that's when I'm getting lost in. So I'm finding it easier to get lost in creating cloth figures or trying to build a clay statue than to draw, because drawing takes a lot more time. It takes more of your mindset. Uh, Building a clay statue and stuff basically just takes figuring out a pose and molding this into what you want. But when you creating a comic book, you creating designs, you creating story, you creating all of this, you putting everything into it, and that's what I love to do. The details, putting every little thing into it. So, and that's what I'm hoping for Storytime. I really want Storytime to be a great thing where everybody can get in on. Y'all can come in, put some ideas in the chat. Like I said, we can make any story we want. But I just don't want it to be all on me, because I want my brain power to go towards. I still want to be because I'm still going to be the one that basically takes all of the ideas and puts it into the story that works. See how y'all like it, and then we'll get it into designing the characters and all of that other stuff. Excuse me. But as far as putting my brain power into the stories, I was hoping to leave that to y'all. And y'all be basically the guys that fill the story with the ideas, and I basically organize it and structure and throw it into the best scenarios that I can think of to put them in and work from there. You know, everybody will work together, but I would mainly be the structure, the guy who structurizes everything, and I'm not sure if it's not because it's me. I've never done this before, so as far as trying to gather people into telling stories, I've just usually done it all on my own. So, and I'm just using that guideline that I've seen that I was showing y'all from Dan Wells and those guys. That's where I learned most of my storytelling capabilities. Well, I was telling my story before that, but as far as structuring and putting it into a story form, that's where I was learning it from. And so,
Well, I've been thinking about. I've been setting aside some time for the bounty hunters and thinking about characters for. I thought of a villain that maybe could work in the story. Because you have that ferret character who has that kind of that long torso.
okay.
I've got a bunch of ideas for him, but instead of any ideas that wouldn't work for him, I have a different character, like an alligator dude, who also has that long, stands upright, has a long torso.
Yeah.
And, he's got the name I came up with for now is TK Thunderbelly.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see what we can do here.
Kind of a play off of a soft white underbelly.
Yeah.
Of an alligator.
I love playing with words like that. I love to try and play with words and see how I can get different things to fit together to come up with a nice new slick idea. Like the bounty hunters.
Yeah. Yeah, I like those clever little wordplay, kind of pun almost kind of things.
Okay, let me see. Let me pull up the next one. I think I have a second page. And I think I have a second one right here. Here we go. And you were saying what? What was the name of that guy?
For now, I was thinking TK Underbelly, or no, TK Thunderbelly. But I might change it to something I don't know what TK comes. Also, because I was thinking because he might be a demolition guy, like has
Okay.
like all kind of tripwires and stuff. So TK is kind of like TNT or TKO or kind of, but Thunderbelly because he's explosive and he.
Thunderbelly, not underbelly.
Yeah, I was thinking Thunderbelly because he like when when alligators run on all fours, they like kind of bounce off the ground and stuff, and they're
Yeah.
kind of shaky and stuff. And so it's like thunder, rolling thunder. And also, I was thinking he could have all kinds of like he's like a demo expert, so he has like all kinds of C4 triggers and tripwires and maybe even throws dynamite. And I was thinking he might be a villain because he's um I don't know. He could be a hero or it could be a rogue. But yeah, and I was meaning to do some sketching and try to scan in some stuff and send to you on Twitter before one of these shows, but I've just been kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about. I've been there because I was supposed to make a video about that last stream. I was supposed to make a story time video explaining exactly about what the dozens is and how that works and how I'm going to bring that back and and then the different story ideas that I've been coming up with over the last couple of weeks that I missed and all of that. I was supposed to do that and I just couldn't bring myself in there. I just couldn't do it. And this is what I have to get past all that because this is a business that I'm trying to do. And if I can't get in here to do the business, then what's the point? So, yeah, I'm gonna get this worked out. So, he could be the villain. You said it could be explosives.
Yeah. Um. Oh, like my philosophy for like working for myself
Uh-huh.
is someone was saying like imagine you're your own boss, but you're paying yourself for your time. Like you're if you say you're working, then work as if you're getting paid for. I don't know how to put in words, but you're paying you're working for wages, and so you have to earn those wages, even though you're your own boss.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I'm saying that right.
I
Um,
think I understand what you're trying to say, and
okay.
that you have to think of it as if you are paying yourself for your time, and so that means you got to get up and earn that keep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I gotta. That's what I gotta get into that frame of mind that this is a business. Is what I want to in order to get a good. You see, have you seen what Dan Frager has been doing? He's already 30,000 into his campaign. He started at 12 and he's 30,000 in, probably close to pushing 40,000 soon. So
Dang.
yeah,
Frega
man.
boom.
Frager boom, man. Hail Frager. Hail CG. That's what I'm doing, man. I want to get mines up to that point to where I can get that kind of payoff in the first 2-3 hours. I'd be ecstatic if I could get people to love my story and be that excited to want to want to read my story and to get it out. Can't wait to be able to get it out there soon enough to them, and man, because that would change everything for me. It would change my whole way of thinking because then I've never been a professional as far as an artist is concerned. I've never been a professional as far as that is, and I've never written for anything. I've never done so. That would be my first taste of professionalism, professional comic book creating, and if I can, then if I could follow it up and do better the second time than I did the first time, no matter how much that is, uh, that'll also prove that I belong, you know, because then I've not only produced a product and sold it, that I've satisfied customers. So,
Hmm.
and that's more important than anything else, to know that people like your work and appreciate it, to come back and follow you and fall in love with your characters, be willing to fall in love with your characters and all of that, because that's what it is. You putting out things out there for other people to say, to choose whether they'll like them or not, building a reality, and people, for people to say, "Oh man, this guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's to this, not enough that," you know, and all of that. So to have somebody, even if somebody says that and comes back and buys and say, "Okay, the next time he's gonna get better, and I'm gonna support him," man, that says a world of things. When I seen Frager smiling, and when he hit 20,000, and man, I smiling for him, because I can't wait till I get to that point, because
Yeah.
I know it's coming. I know it's coming. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna hit the numbers that he hit. He's been doing this for I don't know how many years, 20 something years, 30 years. So I can't put myself on the same level as him or EVS, but to dream, to dream
Yeah.
that dream is something else, man.
It's
Something
crazy.
else.
It's
Yeah.
I never I always like yeah, I never thought that the barrier for entry would be like the barrier for entry has been lowered with comics for Comicsgate, but
Yeah.
the standard of or the quality standard is still sky high. It's still
It's still up there.
yeah.
But the fact that you have the opportunity to put your work out there, there's no barriers. You don't have
Yeah.
to go interview to nobody. You don't have to listen to nobody tell you to keep working on this or that and come back later. Everything is on to you and the public. If the public
Exactly.
doesn't buy your work, then you know you need more work. Uh, if they do, hey, you know you set your own mark in life, because that's what indie comic books are. They're freedom that I've never had before, to produce my own work and put it out there and sell and be able to make a living and support myself. I've never had that. I've never had that
Hmm.
on any level. So that's a wonder in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I'm I'm happy that it's come along. It's sad that Star Wars and Marvel comics are going down the tubes, but the people, all the fans, all the people are really benefiting from it because we get to finally just take destiny into our own hands, and all the things that were swimming around in our heads we can put on paper
Yeah.
and put
They
it out
taught
there.
us
And
something. They taught us something. Imagine if they didn't do that. Their
wow.
failure, their failure to perform is our benefit, because imagine if they didn't do that. We'd be still sitting back going, we'll just wait for them.
Yeah.
But then Zach and EVS said, hey, later for them guys, we could do this ourselves. We have the platform, we have the capability. Let's do it ourselves. And ooh, that's the one thing that I never had. Let me do it myself. I never even conceived that I could do that. It's only in recent years that I've figured out that other people have done this indie comic book thing. But except for even there was this Brother Man. I think there was a comic book called Brother Man, um, where there was a black dude who created it. But from what I understand, he didn't really make any really good money off of it to where he was able to retire or lay back and sit back. He only did the one book, from what I understand. And then, like 20 years later, is blowing up again. And now he's able to revitalize his career. So, and I was like, daggone, I didn't know. And it's in black and white, and it was good. It was a lot better than I anticipated when I saw the inner pages. So the whole being black and worrying about having somebody not liking your work, and then you, whether it's true or not, you leave. Whether if you don't get the job, it's always in the back of your mind. Did I not get it because I'm a black, or because I'm just not good enough? You know what I mean? So there's none of that to stop you now, because the public doesn't care. There's a lot of guys I see. There probably are guys who might make that differentiation, but I see Kanan White and Antonio sell $70,000 worth of comics last year.
Yeah.
And so I don't see where the hatred exists there. So that's what I'm saying. I don't see it. So if they had the capability and they had the same freedom as everybody else, and they are able to sell $70,000 worth, then why shouldn't I be able to? I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat that they are. I'm here trying to put out work the same way that they are. So I like I say, only thing is right now I don't have the platform right now that they have, but I'm gonna get there.
It's growing.
Yeah. Just be patient, baby. Just be patient. Yeah.
I have faith in your your YouTube content. I think is gonna shape up nicely.
I'm gonna keep it up. I'm gonna keep it up. This week, I said it last time, but this week is gonna be a drive forward. Like I said, I've been exercising again to make sure that this pain doesn't come back. And then it's all every morning I'm gonna try to regiment myself and get up, come up here and put out some videos and put out some art and get back into this thing, working heavy every day. Because I see it too. The movie, the old classic movie reviews, Angels with Dirty Faces. The only thing is that I don't have a whole lot of old movies that I could fall back on for that. I only have a limited amount of old movies that I like. And the rest of them I'll have to go looking for, and I don't know if I'm gonna have the same love and enthusiasm for them, because it would just be because those movies are old and fit into the niche that I managed to find myself in. But those old movies are like a specialized thing for me, because maybe there's like 30, 40 old movies that I know of that I really love that I'm going to be talking about. And once those are done, then what? Yeah. You see? So that's the only problem.
I was saying you got to ration them out. You have to maybe do them once every every other week or something like that. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, once a month or something like that, and keep him, find a way to maybe I'll have a live stream where I talk about those same classic movies that I love so much, and we could go over them and stuff like that. Have a group of people come in, and because I plan on getting that live stream update soon this week, probably because I paid off all my bills, so now I should have some loose money now, and I just gotta. I want what I have to do is get a PayPal for my for this channel. I got to get a
Yeah.
PayPal connected to this channel so that I can just pay through the everything can go through my PayPal with this channel, so that in the future, when I'm able to get super chats and all of that stuff, it'll be able to go right into the PayPal or whatever. Or if I'm selling any art or anything like that, because that's another thing I want to start selling my art online, or giving opportunities for people to get art from me, so that if they join the channel or if they subscribe, they'll be able to get some free art. And so all of that stuff, I got to start setting up. Those are ways that I'm going to try to get people to join and subscribe to. If you subscribe, subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to get free art, so or free videos or something. So I got to start figuring all of that stuff. I got to become a businessman and a promoter.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what this whole Comicsgate thing. That's a huge aspect of it is promotion. I just saw a EVS's live stream he did, not the auction, but the one before where he was wearing the top hat.
Yeah.
You saw that one?
Yeah, most definitely. I watch all of his stuff. The man is selling $600,000 worth of comics. There's no way I'm gonna miss anything he puts up. He sells $600,000 worth of comics, man. I want to know everything he's putting out there. I want to know how he does it, why he does it. I'm examining and breaking down everything he says and does, because I want to learn. I want to learn from what he does. He's doing fantastic numbers, man. He's destroying his numbers. He's gonna destroy Earthworm Jim. He's killing it. He's killing it, and he's doing it with less backers because of that box. I'm thinking of how I can do the same thing. I'm telling you. I just know it's going to be a lot of work for me because I don't have the extra artists I don't have an EJ Morgus to do an extra book for me. I don't have a Kanan White to do an extra book for me. So the covers, I can do the covers myself, but the extra books, those are the things. I want to put out a God Tomb book. And then I want to put out a couple of extra, like 10-page storylines on a couple of my characters that I want to have cameo in the book. Maybe have a little breakdown story on them. They come in and then you have a short breakdown story, so that if we're able to start up a bigger universe, already have characters that people are familiar with,
Get all set up, get all teed up for
have everything just ready, and people will be like, oh, what about that character? What about that character? Yo, when are y'all gonna pull out the book on that character? See, so I already know. That's how I know that this story is. A lot of people said, you hear EVS, and a lot of these guys have these stories that they've had for 20 years, and guys that had, oh man, I've been working on this book for 20 years or 10 years or the years of my life. This story I haven't been working on for 20 years. I've only been working on it since October. But the characters, I know the characters. The characters, I know their origins, I know their histories, I know so much about the characters. So building the story is easy because I know the characters. And the story is it the groups with the groups that I'm putting in it and the different aspects of the characters, it kind of like tells the story on its own. And putting in the Illuminati type characters, those help to guide the whole storyline. And so when every time I added another group or another character, I was like, oh man, I just know how this story is going to go because I know who this character is and where he would fit in. So I know where the story has to travel. So everything is like writing itself. Half of it is like written almost on its own. And I just have to really put the two and two together and map everything out. And it's coming out really good, man. It really is. Between the storytelling and the action, because I don't really not trying to. I know I'm talking about all of these characters that I have, and I know people are gonna think, oh, he's gonna be cramming all of these characters in. No, 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 no. It's gonna be felt out. You're gonna feel these characters are gonna come in when they're supposed to. They're gonna be mysterious at times. There's gonna be all types of ways that I'm gonna be introducing characters, and they're not gonna be crammed in, but they will be coming in strategically. They will be put in to upset things and brought in to throw my heroes off their game and to do all types of things. So everything is going to be strategically handled. The storyline is plotted out, and I hopefully it's really up to y'all. I'm going to read it 100 times before I'm finished with it, but it's up to you guys to really tell me, give me all of the feedback once it's finished and it's out there, and I'll get it back from y'all, and y'all tell me how confusing it is, because I'm really trying to pack a lot of story into an amazing, immense world. But I want it's gonna feel huge. I want it to feel huge. You just can't see it yet. That type of feeling. That daggone, I can feel something is coming, something major is gonna happen, something's coming. I can see it's getting set up. But how's he gonna handle it? What's coming? That type of thing. So I'm telling you, it's amazing. I just can't stop smiling every time I think about it, because I know I'm putting my whole left foot in it. So I'm telling you, I'm working on the characters, I'm working on the stories. I want it to be emotional, I want it to be funny, I want it to be action packed, everything that I love in storytelling. And I hope that I accomplish everything that I set out to achieve. But right now, it's all about the story and the designs of the characters. So for now, that's what I'm working on, and you'll be seeing them. You'll be seeing them. They're coming soon. They're coming really soon, because the story is lining up, and I'm about to start breaking it up into the first digital novel, the graphic novel. The first graphic novel, I'm going to breaking it down, because I think that I have the story to where I know where I could cut it off so that I can have my first book, and that's what I'm working on right now. How to cut it off, where all of my where to start setting up my three. Well, there's going to be a lot more. What they call those? Yeah, foretelling. Cliffhangers. There's gonna be three cliffhangers because the first three books are gonna be in the first three floppies, I guess you could call it, are gonna be in the first book, and then after that, there's gonna be three books of 20 pages each in each graphic novel. The first book is gonna be a giant size and with two add-ons, and those might be add-ons depending upon how well the book sells. I'm gonna figure out. Otherwise, it's just gonna be a 68-page giant size book, and I'm gonna break that into three sections. But like I said, I'm gonna have to figure out how this book is gonna sell first, because I want that first book to be just one big annual, well, not an annual, but giant size, like back in the day when they sold those 68-page giant size books. So I want my first book to have a 68-page giant size, and then two small follow-up, book 2 and book 3, all in that first graphic novel. So it'll probably be close to 100, 110 pages, 100, somewhere around there, 110 pages. And then after that, every other book, unless I have a special where there'll be another giant size or something like that. But after that, every other book will be 68 pages, three floppies of 20, 22 pages, 23 pages each. And just fantastic stuff, man. All new superheroes. Some some brand new abilities you never seen before. At least I think. I don't know every superhero out there in the world, so I can't say that I'll have original ideas, because the odds are somebody's thought of everything out there and has put it out at some point or another. So only thing I can say is that I think that I have some nice original characters that you're gonna love, and they're definitely gonna be kick ass. So all gangster and thugged out in a good way.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see Stone Gods and God Tomb and Might of Pug
The
City.
Twin Assassin. Oh man, the Twin Assassin story is gonna be epic too. That's gonna be futuristic. I gotta have to start designing spaceships and all of that stuff like that.
The project that I'm, thinking about doing is going to take a lot of like world building and designing all new architecture and clothing and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Probably gonna take me a while to get it all hammered out. So I was thinking about doing like a book, like a cartoony, some other kind of style of book. Maybe make it like a 32-page small graphic novel, and then having my epic world building saga just have like a 12-page floppy that comes with it as a, because it's gonna take me time to,
as an introduction, like a ash can.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
That's gonna be my strategy for my epic tale that I'm trying to put together.
Yeah.
Because for me, if I'm gonna go straight for the trying to get the epic all done at once, it's gonna be just a huge mountain to climb. So I'm trying to minus a lot of things like I wonder what I should say. I'm like there's gonna be like a city but I'm gonna make the first issue take place outside of that city. So it's more out in the desert kind of setting where I don't have to draw a bunch of buildings. I can just draw nature.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, when it comes to your world building, man, and creating, are you trying to create a whole new universe or a whole new world of your own, or it's basically going to be a futuristic Earth?
it's gonna be just one planet, and it's gonna be a facsimile of Earth, kind of like a.
Yeah.
So it's not Earth, but it's very similar to
So
it.
it's basically your own world.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're gonna have fun because you're gonna have to create everything. You're gonna have to create your own government. You're gonna have to create
Mhm.
your own religious system. You're gonna have to
Mhm.
create your own governmental, political system and way of thinking, and you're gonna have you're gonna have to have your poor people, your rich. You're gonna have to have all of that stuff. You're gonna have to build all of that, and you're gonna love it because the more it comes together, the more you're gonna feel this exuberation, this like swell inside of you, man, because it's all yours, and you're gonna know it's all you. It's like I said, it's like being a god. It's like being a earthbound god, and
Mhm.
you're actually creating uh, ideology that people will actually love to follow, a way of thinking that people are gonna love to get lost in, and that's
Yeah.
the great thing about it.
Yeah. It will be very well. It's just like Star Wars, how people all worship Jedi these days and stuff. And
Exactly. Imagine it's a whole galaxy on the other side of the universe, and you opened up your whole existence to this reality with laser swords and these gifted beings that are so talented they're thought to be like religious, they're priests, but they actually have a piece of God with them because they actually can touch this force that gives
Mhm.
them these abilities and have it work through them. And then there's this alternate side that works against them, and it's imagine all of that, and you're able to witness it from the ships to the different planets and how they interact with their guilds and all of this stuff. This is wondrous, man. This is fantastic. And I love that. I love just letting my mind think of the different aspects that I would love to see touched upon when I'm traveling in my world. That's why I say I actually go into my worlds and try to live amongst my characters and see what I can touch upon to make my world more realistic, to make people want to live there.
Mhm.
Creating games and sports and different things like that, languages, all of these types of things. I love to think about.
Mhm.
It's,
Absolutely.
yeah, man. And that's what I'm saying. When you get into that story, you'll see. I don't know how often you uh, attempted writing and creating stories, but if this is your first time, man, you're gonna see it's gonna take on a life of its own.
I hope so.
It is, because when I first started trying to write a story, I was absolutely lost. I didn't know where to start. I was asking people. My mother, she used to read all the time. I used to ask her. She used to say, I don't know. My friend, he used to read all of the time. I used to ask him questions. I don't know. My sister read all of the time. Ask her questions about how to write a story. They don't know. How do you not understand how to something about it? You've been reading all of these books, because I never read that stuff. I read comic books, and I was trying to write a novel. So, and then finally I start getting a few hints, and I start putting together a story of my own. I was just bumbling my way through. I just creating characters and putting story ideas together and putting different. I had seen enough movies by this time to where I knew what I wanted to see. I knew I wanted some wizards, and I knew I wanted dragons and all kinds of different creatures, and I wanted to travel through different regions in my world. So I wanted to be in a forest. I wanted to be in a volcanic region. I wanted to be in a arid regions. I have regions. I want to be all over my world. There's desert regions I created. I created all kinds of ice. If it exists on Earth, I've created it for my planet, for my world, and then I started creating it from the ground up. It was born of magic, and like um, as the world, imagine a big molten rock of molten lava percolating for millions of years, and then after the storms and everything cools off the world, and the magics and the different elements start uh, separating and becoming more distinct. The magic starts separating and becomes more distinct and settling into these different elements. And that's the whole concept behind my Stone God story, that once these like different elements, they kind of like settle into these source power, the power sources of these different elements that kind of call out, not really, but kind of do call out, and certain animals try to find this calling, and many animals try to find it and fail, but eventually certain animals find them and they become the gods of the world. And from there it just gets, the story goes to where the gods are at war with each other, because the stone god thought he made up most of the world. The stone, the planet core, and all of that is mostly molten stone, and he covers most of the planet is made of stone. And he didn't realize, he realizes, but he doesn't care. He's selfish and he wants to rule, and he wants to be the god king, or the ruler of the gods and all of that. And and he convinces some of the other gods to go with him, and it turns out to become a war, and he pays for it, and a couple of the other gods pay for it too, for their rebellion, I guess you could call it, or their desire to rule. And he's imprisoned, and a couple of the gods die, and one or two. I'm not sure how many yet. I haven't gotten to the stages of telling that in detail yet. So, but I know where the story goes because this is basically the setup for my world building. It's not really important to the story itself, and basically, the stone god is imprisoned in his own element because that was the only thing that they can find strong enough to hold him, and they kind of constructed a super prison using his own element, and from that point he was in prison for like thousands or millions of years or whatever, and in that time the gods kind of receded away, had children, and or maybe even before then, but a new thing comes along. The new gods are not, the old gods are not even considered. They're not even they need not even realize that they even existed. Uh, the only people who are thought of as the new gods, and so uh, these new gods have rules that people are supposed to live by, and they're not supposed to. I'm sorry, I thought I heard something. They're not supposed to, and I'm not supposed to be hearing anything. So then they're not supposed to kill anything without praying uh, first, asking for permission, and all of that stuff. So all these different things, they uh, basically creates a sect of people who choose not to want to worship the gods or not to want to abide by the gods anymore, and it basically creates a war situation against humans and the gods, and from there it just escalates and gets crazy. I'm telling you, man, I've been working on that one for years and years and years. That was the very first story I've ever tried to tell. So that one is a very, very intricate, long, oh man, because I have so many different regions that I want to go to, and different aspects of storytelling, and bringing together different magical things and all of these. Wow, I'm telling you, telling that story is going to be crazy, crazy.
It's amazing how, like, if you just come up with like a concept or a character and everything just kind of unravels naturally, it all kind of
Yeah,
just keys together like a puzzle.
it just falls into place sometimes. If as long as you have your characters, you have your bad guys, your good guys, you know who they are, and you know how you want to tell your story. Most of the time, yes, it'll basically tell itself. The hardest part is gonna be figuring out how to end it.
Oh yeah.
Figuring out how to end it is gonna be the hardest part, man.
Yep, absolutely. That's my challenge right now too, is
Yeah.
how's it gonna end.
I hate it because no matter what Indiana Jones, I always hate the end because I don't want it to be over. So uh now I'm imagining creating characters, and now you have to either kill off one of your characters or something like that. You don't want to do it because, especially the bad guys, because the bad guys are usually the most free characters. You can have the most fun with the bad guys. Your good guys always have to be limited to being good. You know, you make them too far bad or do something too far out of the realm of being good, and then they cease to be good guys anymore. And and bad guys, everybody knows they're supposed to be bad. So you can really get crazy with how bad you want them to be or how sinister you want them to be. And they're the most free characters in a story. So you can really have fun with evil bad guys or even sinister bad guys or crazy bad guys. So uh, I love my bad guys. So having them get killed off or something like that, that's really hard. That's really gonna be hard.
It's cool
I
when like the
know.
bad.
Go
Oh,
ahead. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I
No,
was
no,
gonna say
no.
it's
Go ahead.
cool. It's cool when the bad guys like go from heel to baby face and then go
Yeah.
back to heel.
Yeah.
Like then they kind of trick the good guy into thinking that they're on their side, and then they
Yeah.
switch on the
Yeah.
good guy again.
I like it. I like it when you have to work with the bad guy. You know that he's bad, and you know that he's gonna pull some slick shit to betray you, but you have
Yeah,
no choice but to work with him. And then he winds up, you're expecting him to betray you, you're looking for him to betray you, but in working with him for an extended period of time, you begin to trust him in some ways, and then he fucks you over for it.
yeah. Like maybe
I
you're not so
love that.
bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you're all right. Oh, never mind.
Never mind. I take that back. You bastard. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love all of those aspects of storytelling. Because that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Your bad guy can always do all of that. When your good guy goes so bad, he usually can't come back. And even if he does, he's not usually trusted that well, you know?
yeah. That's the problem. Marvel. I mean, the Marvel hero, like, was that Ant-Man smacked the Wasp
Yeah.
in one of the classic comics, and now it's like you can't really. I mean, I can't really love the Ant-Man as much as I used to,
Yeah.
and but yeah, yeah, heroes are a bit more delicate to handle. Uh, you can't have Captain America saying "Hail Hydra" or whatever,
Yeah.
and then go back and
Exactly. Exactly. And you see they've shown every way on how to destroy a character. Or destroy how you keep people liking a character or how you can make people turn on a character who's beloved for how
Mhm.
many years, and then all of a sudden nobody wants to read any book that he put out,
Yeah,
all
it's sad.
because you think that you're doing something wonderful by trying to revamp his backstory and making him this slave to Hydra all of these years.
Yeah, ridiculous. It's what is it called? Deconstruction or subverting expectations, that kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
thing.
Which
Um,
makes no sense because in all of those times, all of those years, for 40 something years, he's been maybe longer than that. He's been this superhero and doing things to take out Hitler, Hydra, and all of these different factions of evil. And now all of a sudden he's been working for the bad guys all this time. So what was his major plan all those years when he was tearing down the bad guys? What was the major plan really? Hello?
oh, I'm here. Can you
Oh,
hear me?
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I dropped my phone for a second.
Oh, I know
Yeah,
I heard
it's
something go clink and then
yeah. Uh, but yeah, it's sad, but it's also we can learn from their mistakes.
yeah. Yeah, buddy.
Um, have kind of a crazy question to ask
Go
about
ahead.
the. You heard of something called remote viewing?
Yeah.
I kind of believe in that stuff a little bit, and think that like when George Lucas or Jack Kirby come up with their far off universes, that there's there's no way that there's no way that we can prove that Silver Surfer doesn't exist. You know,
Uh-huh.
like Silver Surfer might actually, he might, maybe not exactly as it's been created, but there might be some other entity out there that's very similar to Silver Surfer that humans on Earth are have can tune into and see. Um,
So you're saying that it's possible that Jack Kirby didn't just come up with the idea of a Silver Surfer, that he's tapped into this higher being that's been floating around in space in some far off galaxy or some far off corner of the universe, and he just happened to tap into his existence and put it
yeah,
on paper.
he
I
picked up
see what you're saying.
the radio frequency of
Yeah.
that. So, and maybe somewhere on Remulon 7, there's people drawing a comic book of Donald Trump, and people looking at it like this is, you know,
Yeah.
that's just kind of what I think about sometimes is like when I'm creating stuff is this stuff might actually be real, and I'm
Hey
just
man, you know what's important about letting your mind, allowing your mind to think that way, is that it opens up paths of creativity. That if you don't take that risk, if you don't open up your mind to it and say, hey, what possibilities out there exist for my mind to travel in, then how do you create something new? How do you create something that's fresh, or something that can be looked at as something refreshing, something that might not have been tapped into already? If you're not trying to open your mind, like in Total Recall, open your mind. So if you're not doing that, then you're not really trying to create. Really, you're just really limiting you're boxing yourself up. You're putting yourself in a box and looking to do something. You putting yourself in a box, putting the lid on, and then hoping to see what's on the outside. Well, why do that? Just stand up and get out of the box, you know. And so that's why I always agree with being able to let your minds think freely.
mhm.
Later, for any politics is good for like rooting your story in reality. So
Mhm.
you put something in politics in your story, but only to make people say, yeah, okay, I've heard about that. So I understand where the story is, what the story is talking about. But you never want anybody to say, oh, I understand what the artist or the writer is talking about. You always want them to talk about what the story is talking about and how that affects the story. If it's pushing a person to consider what's going on in real life, then you might be pushing too much.
Yeah,
Yeah. In my opinion, comic books especially. Now, you can always take it like in like what Zach did. Hey, like what Zach did with How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well. I decided to jump in real quick. My own live stream will be up in a few hours, and stuff, and I'll be doing it. But I wanted to get on with you guys for a little bit.
Cool.
See how you guys are doing.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be getting off in about 40 minutes or so anyway.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see if EVS is gonna push Dan Frager's campaign. How far is he gonna push that over the top?
Hey, I have Dan Frager's thing on my Indiegogo tab here. When I look, did you guys already look at it?
Yeah, I was thinking about pulling that up myself.
Because, let me do share screen. I can just show it to you right now.
Yeah.
Let's see, share screen. Here it is. Do you guys see it?
Yep.
There's the trailer, but let's go down to the artwork. Ooh. Here's the new cover for this. You see the old cover of the new version.
Yeah, I saw his videos. I saw a couple of his videos when he was saying that was the old book and he's going to have the new characters breaking through.
And that is a beautiful cover.
Yeah.
There we have this. I didn't go through the whole thing. I wanted to maybe there's this character who's basically like a cross between Spider-Man and maybe Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Just the way he moves.
He's an alien, right?
Yep, he's an alien with a living suit.
Yeah.
Is that all?
That's what that is. That's a living suit.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why it looked like water.
Yeah. He can, I think, assumably like maybe a symbiote, he can make weapons out of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, its name's Rascal, right?
Yeah.
Good name. All right. I really want to get this comic book. Okay, well, let's. The tiers are right here. Featured comic book plus Ashcan, 50 USD. Comic book color cover, 25 USD. Comic book lined art cover, 25 USD. Two signed comic books, 40 USD. I guess. Comic book color cover, 25 USD. I probably might want to get this one because if I buy a signed one, I won't want to read it. And I do want to read this comic book.
Was you in his chat today when he sent out the PDFs for all of the original books?
PDFs? No, I didn't. Can I still get it?
I don't know. But if you was watching his stream earlier, I don't know if he's still up live right now, but if you was in his stream, he's been sending out free PDFs of all of the books from 20 years ago.
Hey, is he going to continue the story or is it just a complete reboot?
I think it's a reboot in many ways, but there's some important stuff from the early books that's going to be following the same story plots.
Okay, so more or less a reboot. That's kind of sad. I guess he has to do that because it was an old series, and you need to, and even though he put PDFs for people to take.
Yeah.
But he says I figured he was going to continue the story he already established, but he was going to restart from the very beginning. I was kind of.
I think it's more of an updated continuation. It's kind of updating the characters and continuing from where he left off. So it's not really a reboot, but it is updating the characters because he redesigned some of the characters and some of the clothing, and then I think he's made the storyline a lot more intense.
Okay, another thing is the characters were set back in the 90s. He has, I guess, with him updating the story, he has to move the story down to the 20s now.
Yeah.
2020. He has to do that at least.
Update him, bring him back into the. Well, again, I have to I wanted to be up there checking for when him and EVS get out there because I know they're going to go over all of that all over again.
have a question. Does this have sequentials on this Indiegogo page?
Main pages for the comic book itself. Well, maybe this right here. This could be a part of the comic book. I mean, listen, there's all these characters in this black and white page right here. So
no, I don't see any sequentials.
There are no words. That's what. Oh, you mean there's no letter.
No panel work. There's no panel.
I figure this could be just a double page spread, though. But that's about
it. Could be.
But it could be.
Oh yeah, the one with Frega Boom at the bottom, the black and white.
Yeah. That looks like a double page spread.
Yeah, that's a double page spread. Yeah, but there's no panels. He can't see no sequentials.
Yeah.
He should put that. He should at least put one or two. But I guess he hasn't gotten that far yet. I don't know. He's been doing the covers. I've been seeing him doing these covers, but double page spread of the team. That's just of the team. That's not going to be in the book. It might be in the book, but it's not going to be part of the story. I doubt it. You're not going to see this. I doubt if you're going to see this as part of the. Well, I guess it could be a double page spread as part of the story, but he probably put a new background.
Yeah, that's the thing that really sells me on these Indiegogos is the some of the sequential work you see for like the first few pages.
Yeah,
it sells me on the story.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have my sequentials up. The first opening fight scene, I might have that splashed all down in here. All down in here. My first 3 or 4 pages probably be right here. And it's gonna open up with a major fight. 2-3 pages in, it's gonna be Knuckle City. Knuckles and buildings getting exploded and people getting blasted through buildings and all kinds of craziness. Yeah, man. I gotta have the action right out the gate and then slow it down later to tell the story, then pick it right back into the action. He's doing pretty good. He's almost at 40. I don't see EBS streaming yet.
36,189. Well, let me do this. See if it's gotten any higher. 38,401. Wow.
Yeah.
And he's at 5,000 flexible gold. That's kind of wow. That's kind of
Imagine once EVS gets his hands on it.
Yeah.
Once EVS starts letting his fans do some he starts pushing that book to his fans, that book is gonna be flying. They're gonna be $100,000 before the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question about Ethan was kind of alluding that there's going to be more pros coming over to Comicsgate. Do you guys have any predictions on who you think it might be?
I don't really know a lot of the guys that's in there right now, besides like Jim Lee and
Chris Claremont might do something, I suppose. Get someone to draw for him and stuff.
Yeah.
I suspect it might be it might be
you got the Jay Lees, you got the Scott Campbells, you got a lot of guys out there. The Matsudas, you got a lot of guys that you could choose from.
Sean Gordon Murphy kind of dipped his toe into the indie comic scene.
He's scary though. He's scared to offend anybody. He got to grab his sack and just declare Comicsgate and say, "Yo, You don't have to be so begging. You don't have to be so. People respect you for who you are, man. You don't have to grovel.
Right. Who? There's someone else. Oh, maybe Kevin Eastman, because
Yeah,
he has Indiegogo, and if he, I mean, he's a huge name, and
yeah.
if he came on and
It could be anybody, man. It could really be anybody because EVS knows so many people. It could be anybody.
Simon Beasley, maybe Rob Liefeld.
Yep. Well, Rob Liefeld already tried a couple. He put out a book that he didn't
The book, yeah, he hadn't
finish
finished it
yet.
up.
Yeah, he never finished, and he never fulfilled.
Yeah, it's still sitting at $1,000 some.
Yeah, so I doubt if it's gonna be him.
right.
I doubt if EVS is gonna be ready to jump behind somebody who hasn't fulfilled a book. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think they was criticizing Rob Liefeld for not fulfilling that book. So I doubt if it's him. Anybody else? The Todd father might come over because even though because he says he might get the Todd father to draw a cover for him. EVS said he might get him to do a Cyberfrog cover.
That'd be huge.
Yes, major. And he already hit 2 million already on his campaign.
Yeah.
Todd McFarlane. I know it's got to be close. If it's not 2 million, it's got to be like 1.8.
Man.
Want me to go look first?
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. Look it up on Indie. Was it
Kickstarter?
On Kickstarter, yeah. Kickstarter.
Chris, do you have any other ideas for comics, like a second property besides Scumdogs?
I have quite a few of them. I'm trying not to give any ideas away, though. But let's see.
That's fine. I'm just curious. I mean, I love Scumdogs, but I'm just curious to know.
One of my ideas is that, well, I talked about this with you before. If you don't remember, I thought about a guy with electrical powers, basically, maybe a superhero who teams up with a character that looks very much like one of the Skeksis from the Dark Crystal, except it's just a big bird creature.
1.9.
And he ended up going back in time to ancient China and ending up enlisting an ancient Chinese martial artist in their little. Well, he gets involved in it. I thought that would be a good idea for a comic book.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I remember this now. Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, don't spill the beans, but I'm just curious. Just a quick little question I had for you.
1.9 million.
Whoa.
He's about to hit 2 million, man. He's got 12 more days. He's gonna hit 2 million with no problem.
Man.
That's crazy.
Spawn's popular.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that I'm looking for, hopefully. Looking for someday to get that type of payout. Because that's how you know that your character is really popular.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, $2 million in about a month. Wow, amazing. To know that you can pull down that kind of money when you put out a campaign.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, I love Dan Frega's art style.
Hmm.
I'll be honest, this piece is a little bit busy for me, but
Uh-huh.
I still it
Hmm.
gets me excited for the actual book. Like I want to see this artwork in the sequential form.
He's gotten a lot better because when he first came out, he had those really huge bulbous muscles, kind of over the top, and
Uh-huh.
I wasn't really. I bought the books. I'm pretty sure I have all of the books, but I wasn't that fascinated with his art. But he's gotten a lot better now.
Mhm.
He's toned it down, brought it back, and it looks much better. His muscles have better form, all of that. So I'm happy with what he does. It is busy. I'm like you with that. This poster down here, the black and white that he
Mhm.
got is on the page. I can't hardly make out what it is going on there. I can't hardly make out shit. So that shit bothers me. I like it to breathe a little bit to where I can see. There's some things that you have to see, but I have to work too hard.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
like to be able to breathe a little bit more.
And Ethan's art style is also kind of busy, but it has
Breathability. You can
yeah,
read it. It's
yeah,
readable. It's more readable at a glance. You can see what's happening at a glance.
yeah.
That's because it's more breathable. It's not so cluttered that everything is jammed together that you can't make out one thing from the other. Even in the color version that he's done right here on the front of his page is so busy that you can barely see the different parts. You can see the different people, but you have to work to make out
Mhm.
where his leg is, where her arm is going, where this is all. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. It's like a bag of jelly beans or something. It's
Yeah, yeah.
colorful, but
It's like where's Waldo?
yeah.
That is true.
He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. But
Absolutely, yeah.
it's so much detail. It's so much. Even when you color it and you put all of the different tricks for differentiating the different characters from each other, it still is hard to see. Like the cover of the old cover is faded and they're bursting through the page. So the new people are supposed to pop and stand out more, and it's still to differentiate them from the old stuff that's faded behind them.
Hmm.
That's just because there's so much detail.
Yeah, I see. Maybe if you like distress the original,
Make
like
it
you're saying.
darker or something. Everything is so on the same plane.
Hmm.
Everything is light, or you need to darken up the cover that they're bursting through and leave them bright and brilliant because you're not really paying attention to what they're busting through anyway. You're really trying to make out who they are.
Hmm.
So that stuff in the background, you shouldn't really care anything about. So you could darken it up a little bit, about halfway, something like that, so that these guys really pop.
This is good. It's good. This is good notes for us for
Yep.
when we do our
Yeah,
when we do our
yeah,
thing.
that's right.
Um,
And you're practicing your art too. So all of these things is great to learn. And I'm practicing my inking and my colors. So all of that stuff is great for me to learn.
Mhm.
It's perfect.
So this is the campaign of the day. This is the big one
Yep.
today, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Frege.
Yep. Of this month, matter of fact, it's probably going to be the big one of the month because this is what, May? No, this is April.
End of April. Yeah.
End of April. And June is going to be Graveyard Shift.
Whoa.
And that's going to be big. Episode 3, issue 3 of Graveyard Shift. So
I really hope he does a some way you can get 1 and 2 because
a trade
I'm sorry to
paperback.
say, yeah, something like that. That'd be cool.
I think he is going to have all 3 together.
Good, because I need them. I don't have any of them.
Me either. I wanted to get them, but I can't afford to get I wanted to buy the $70 tier, the $75 tier, and get the Virgin cover and all of that. But I just couldn't do it, man.
Yeah. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I think I'd like to get a trade paperback and maybe with a new copy of the 3rd book, maybe.
Yeah. I would have gotten it, but I wouldn't have been able to get my mic. And I wouldn't have been able to get some of my art supplies because I had to save that money. So if I had bought any of that, if I had spent $200 on Blood Honey or Wreck Planet, man, I wouldn't be able to get anything that I need to do my work. So
Exactly. That's my thinking too.
I have to bite the bullet and hope that I can get it later on.
Yeah. You will. I mean, you might just have to pay a little bit. You can still buy any of them, but you just have to pay a little bit more.
Yeah.
But you know, it's yeah. My priorities are the same way. I want to keep make sure I can make art and not just only buy art.
Yeah. I figure I'll be able to catch up later on as long as they keep always like EVSA. You always wants to have a way for you to come in on the ground floor and catch up and be able to follow the story.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as they're able to do that, then I'll be able to come in. Hopefully by next year, my campaign will be out already, and then I'll be able to start supporting the way everybody else supports.
Mm-hmm.
I get in on that RICO, on that RICO act that everybody's doing and passing around their money between each other. That illegal mafia stuff that they try to get EVS arrested for.
The pie mafia.
Yeah. Passing the money back and forth between each other and never paying taxes. As long as our money stays in limbo back and forth between each other, we never have to pay taxes.
So, Chris, are there any other projects that you're excited for?
Well, there's the books I like to currently buy and stuff, but yeah, there's a Graveyard Shift I'm excited for. I know the 3rd issue is going to be out soon, and I kind of like to, look at it and stuff. I missed both the 1st and 2nd ones. And of course, I already funded for the Ides of March variant cover for, the Cyber Frog 2 Wreck Planet Ides of March variant cover. So I'm ready to get that sometime later this year. I already funded it and stuff. So that's on its way whenever it gets out.
Awesome. Me too. I was also able to pick up Ides of March. I got that into my budget, and I was happy to get.
Man, I would have loved to have picked up that cover. I would have had to get the whole thing. See, that's what I'm saying. That would have cost me what,
$25.
$225, because I would
No,
have wanted the
25.
box too. No, you
Well,
couldn't get the Ides of March in the box.
Yeah, I know. I bought just the book itself, and now I'm getting the signed variant of it. I might buy another variant of later on this year of Cyberfrog Wrecked Planet and stuff, something that isn't signed. Is he even offering an unsigned cover of that comic book?
No.
Because I like to have that, because I'm probably not going to read a Wrecked Planet 2 if it's a signed copy of it.
Everything is signed.
Well, maybe I'll buy one version of the unsigned version, or maybe something later on. I mean, I'm getting one of the rare variants of it, so I might want to just keep it.
Oh, I think he's signing everything. I think he already said that everything is getting signed. If you bought it, it's getting signed. So
he should offer a variant where you can buy the signed and unsigned variant, so you don't have to order one of them. You should at least do that.
Yeah.
Because now I'm going to feel bad for looking at something that's signed.
You want to keep it.
But that isn't too bad. You just have to sacrifice something that cost you $25, and knowing that with it being signed in the future, it probably would be worth a lot more money, but you still want to read that book. Or you could wait before, when Ethan Van Sciver releases the third Cyberfrog book, he's going to do a trade paperback of the last two and maybe the third one. So you can get the trade paperback and a copy of the Cyberfrog 3. So maybe wait till next year to get that. That's good. So if I want to sit on this book that I bought $25 for and not read it, I can get a copy, but I have to wait another year to be able to read all 3 books at once.
Yeah. That's the only thing, man. That's the only thing.
But actually, I said I brought the cheap version. Well, I brought the cheap thing, just the book, $25. Well, it also cost me $30. It cost me $35, I think, just to ship it over here, or something. It was $25 plus $10 in shipping.
All right.
Something like that. I know I spent recently buying a comic book that cost me $10 in shipping. I'm pretty sure it was this or something. Anyway, I'm getting it, and it should be here. It's not that bad, but $10 in shipping?
Yeah, man. That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot.
But I guess that's the cover for the international. Maybe I'm not sure. It might be to counteract the very high international shipping fee that they're gonna have to take care of. But
it was, I was pretty sure it wasn't international. Isn't Cyberfrog the guy who created it? I know the guy's name. Isn't he an American citizen? So why am I paying an international fee for this?
Oh, right. Well, I'm saying that Ethan has to how do I describe this? The international fee for other customers is so high that he might have to charge other American customers a little bit more, just so he can kind of even out the
offset.
Offset the cost of the international shipping for other customers. That's, I think, why the shipping is so high even for us Americans. But I don't mind. I don't mind paying that much for it if I can.
That's another reason why I couldn't afford it, because you not only gotta take in consideration the price, but you gotta take in consideration the shipping fees too. So you're not just spending $200, you're spending $210 or $215 or something like that. So
yeah.
All of that adds up, man. That's why I said I wanted to get Graveyard Shift. I wanted to get Kyle Ritter. Wanted to get that book. I wanted to get like 3, 4, 5 different books, man. And I wanted to get that 6-Gun Gorilla. That looked good. There's a lot of them that look good, man. What's his name? Shadow Sentry. It has a good concept. I like the concept and all of that, so I'm interested in finding because I have demon stories and good and evil stuff like that too. So I'm very interested in finding out how he handles the same topics that I'm going to be handling in some of my stories. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of how I buy comics, is which ones are closest to what I'm trying to do. That's
Well,
kind of how
I
I.
like I get I like books that touch on stories that I like, and being that I have a wide spectrum of genres that I like, I could like any book. It just depends on how good the art is. So I don't limit myself to the types of books that I'm doing because I don't really want to pollute my mind that much. I mostly would get it so that I don't go in that direction. But
Yeah,
I would usually try to just get things that I like because uh, it entertains and satisfies that part of me. Because, like I said, I like horror, I like fantasy, I like futuristic stuff. So when I get a story that satisfies that need to explore those worlds, then I'm satisfied. But when it comes to creating, I don't want anything interfering with what I'm doing. I don't want to cloud my mind up with that unless I need something to help me tell my story. Like I'll go to 24 and uh Alias and stuff like that to use tactical phrasing and things like that, but I don't want to tell my story based off of 24. I want to use it to get ideas for how to twist and turn different uh, aspects of my storytelling, but I don't want to tell the same stories that uh, 24 is telling.
definitely.
Hmm.
By the way, Chris, uh, do you know
Yeah.
about the bounty hunter story that we've been working on?
Oh, you
The
have a story. You said, well, no, actually, I don't. So tell me about it.
Oh
well,
well,
it's
go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, I'll let you tell it.
Well, it's about it's about these guys. Well, they was once say they was a elite anti-terrorist task force, and they were sent out on a mission to take out a group of terrorists who were creating some genetic degradation type of mass destruction, weapon of mass destruction device, and it genetically devolves people into animal
Oh
forms.
yeah, you did say this, Hawthorne Basics. These
Yeah,
guys are go after the others ones who are turning bad or going insane. And
yeah,
with the longer they stay in animal form, some more they'll become bestial
yeah,
creatures.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so basically we was just working from there, uh, trying to round out the story, find out if any natural enemies that we can use for the ferret and any other of the characters. If this global or local terrorist activities, or if it's a local infestation of that, they're just it's probably going to be more of a global thing because it's a terrorist cells or whatever, and they move around, and how they going to be tracking the brutes and catching them, and the different types of weaponry they might have, what type of terrorist activities that they're involved in, whether they're eco-terrorists or basic type terrorists trying to overthrow governments and all types of things like that. Outer government involvement, maybe a foreign government finds out about these guys, kidnaps some of them, and does experiments so that they can advance their super soldier programs. And then treatment centers, what types of treatment centers for the innocent, what kind of treatments that they're using to help the innocent collateral brutes. And let me see what else is there here. Look up or lock up, how they're going to lock them up or put them down if they're incurable. Names and families and all types of stuff like that. Government branch responsible for taking care of or taking care of the problem. And then Hoth Rebel was saying that he came up with a character called TK Underbelly or Thunderbelly. He doesn't know if he's going to be a hero or villain. He's probably some kind of an alligator or crocodile, something like that. And that's where we were left off.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
And next week or whenever the next story time is, I'm gonna.
It's gonna be next week. Here's not
Okay.
gonna have as little disruptions from here on out.
All right. Well, next week I'll bring my tithe to the goddom. I'm gonna bring some artwork and
all right.
Hopefully get my character designed for TK Thunderbelly or
all right.
Or if you get an idea, you can draw it too if you feel free to do so. But
okay, cool.
I'll definitely take a crack at it and see if we can get some
character development and movement on the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna start rounding out some of the stories, plots, and see how we can get it moving into a full rounded out story and have them in some situations where they're tracking down some bad guys and taking them down, and have some situations where they're being foiled by maybe some opposing groups or whatever. So all of these things we're gonna have to be working on next week, and yeah, I like the way this is going. We start focusing on the story and rounding out the story and finishing it off.
Okay.
And
all right.
I guess anyone's welcome. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Well, I say this sounds like a good idea. I really like it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Let's see. Where was I? Oh, yeah. There it is. Frigaboom's thing. There's well, anyone else want to add something? I guess I can't really think of anything. I was going to maybe show you a couple of other Indiegogos. Well, Hoth Rebel 86, like International 88 thing, huh? Hoth Rebel 86, like that comedy book we saw. I thought it looked pretty good.
Okay.
I was going to. You want to see it? Oh, yeah. That's if I can find it. Let's say this. Probably be easy if I just do this. There is that. If I can have to dig through this thing here. There's Cyborg USA, which is now at 9,895. DTV, Doomsday TV issues 1 through 3 for 9 days left. That's a new one. I'll have to check that up. Hexcraft Mechanics, huh?
Hexcraft Mechanics.
Hexcraft Mechanics, Ultimate Control, and Doomsday TV issues 1 through 3. A couple of new Indiegogos. Oh, and there's, of course, Brigade from Rob Liefeld. I told you about.
You know if these guys are Comicsgate?
I don't know. But usually I look at the comic book when I find them on here to talk about it on my show. Now, if I can just find that book with the Super Team International 88, an action. Well, let's see if we can get it up. An action-packed love for superhero comics of the 80s. No decompression, no anti-heroes, and no thing that was ruining the comic book team.
Okay.
As you can see, let's see, what the heck? You can see like this. One of them is basically our classic hero type guy and stuff. Well, there's the Super American, Lieutenant Flag, Mr. Sleep, and also there's a guy known as the Chicken, Mr. Chicken.
Yeah.
Mr. Sleep, Rollerblade, Gamma Ray Burst, and Flight Path, apparently. And you have the villains over here. There was a comic book sample like that with the villains and stuff. It's basically just a cartoon, but it looks like a funny cartoon.
What's the name of the book?
Super Team International 88.
Okay, Super Team International. Okay.
From Scott Brown.
I just want to try and get a better look at the drawing, the artwork.
It's not the best artwork, but it's pretty good artwork. Something you'd see in a 80s comic.
Yeah.
Or a 90s comic. It's pretty good. It looks like something in the way of maybe like a G.I. Joe or the comic book adaptation of X-Men. Not the best artwork, but good artwork, solid.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe or Transformers and stuff.
He ain't doing too well.
Huh? Oh yeah, there's the effect of that too.
He only got 4 backers, $75. He ain't gonna hit his. He's not gonna hit his goal.
It's $1,000, and that was I thought that was a reasonable thing, but yeah, maybe he should have just shot for 500.
Well, he must not have been promoting his work too tough. Scott O. Brown. 17 days left.
Too bad.
If they can extend it, hopefully.
Artwork is not that bad.
Yeah.
It's not that bad at all.
Very traditional style.
Yep.
A little cartoony, but not that bad.
Yeah.
Some decent character design. Nothing over the top. I like the dude in the black. I don't know his name.
Mr. Sleep.
Oh, that's Mr. Sleep? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not too far to the name.
They have the names over here on the cover right here. The good guys and the bad guys.
Yeah. The Super American, Mr. Sleep, Lieutenant Flag. Okay. Well, it seems a little like it's supposed to be a little funny.
Definitely, it's
like a little tongue-in-cheek type of thing. Deep Trench. Bleeding Fist. Bleeding Fist. That's funny. Giggles. The Giggles. Antarctica. It's not that bad. Evil Dragons. King of all evil dragons. Not bad at all.
yeah.
It's not really that bad. Not really. It's better than some of the stuff that I've seen in Marvel putting out.
Yep.
Like Safe Space.
Oh,
I had both the design and the art. It was horrible.
Totally. This book just looks like fun. The Marvel stuff is kind of infuriating, but this comic looks nice and
that's what I was
like
thinking. That it seems fun. It seems it's intentionally tongue in cheek, supposed to be funny. Mr. Chicken with special guest Mr. Chicken.
Do you mind if we look at that that Hexcraft Mechanics? You're
Yeah,
talking
let's
about
go to that now. I was going to show it on my show, but let's
okay.
go over here. I can do right this. Got good art cover here apparently. Let's see. Bad Girls Are Back to Steal Your Soul from Nathan Masters. Artwork is pretty good looking from what I can see of it. Very nice. And the actual art inside the sequentials itself looks pretty decent. This looks like a good indie comic.
Mm-hmm.
Good indie artwork, I'd say here. I've seen better, but good, just good artwork.
Yeah.
Okay, no one notices the fact the girl has pointy ears. I mean, look at it. She's got pointy ears.
Oh wow.
Mm.
And no
Well,
one.
Oh, go ahead.
Well,
Sorry.
her hair was mostly covering her ears. It looks like, but right there, she just has the thing just pointing out where. There's some more artwork. Vampires, obviously, looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like my style.
I know. The artwork earlier was better, but this maybe has more than one artist working on this. But not bad for this and stuff, but not the best artwork, as I said. All right.
Definitely an indie book, but I know that Nathan Masters is a Comic Skate personality.
Yeah.
He was on
Nathan
on
Masters.
the show with you with Chris on Cecil's show when Chris first came and talked about Scum Dogs.
Okay.
They were all in that same stream together.
He's only made 15 USD with 59 days left, 0% of 10,000 flexible goal.
Oh, so
Yeah.
he just started not too long ago, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, it just looked like he just started like yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna make his goal.
What's the goal? Oh, wow,
10,000.
10,000.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll make that.
And it's for a flexible goal. So
Yeah.
that's a flexible goal. If he doesn't make 10,000, he still has to send the book out or something. I forget how it works.
No, I think if he doesn't make the goal, well, if he makes a certain, I think he still can put it out, but I think they suggest that he just give back the money. But I'm not sure how that works, to tell you the truth. Because I've seen I understand when Mike Miller, his Bless That Meth refused to fund. They said that basically that is all of the money got refunded, and can't put it out. So I don't know. I don't know how it works. I hope I never have to find out. I hope I never have to find out how that works, because I want to always be able to get full funding and to put out my work.
Mm-hmm. One thing I want to say is that I've purchased I'm not a very strong reader, but I've purchased books from Nathan, and he's always delivered the books. And if you buy his book, he'll send it to you. Is
Nathan the artist or the writer?
He's the writer. Well, he does both, but he doesn't do as much art. I think he hires other artists to draw his books for him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of in this same style. His art's the same style of like almost a kind of a manga-ish, kind of cartoonish style.
Yeah.
And I have his book. I started reading it, but I haven't finished it yet. So I haven't yet. I can't do a full review on his work just yet. But
yeah,
so far it's pretty neato. It's kind of what you'd expect from what's being advertised here. It's a lot of people hooking up and vampires and double crossing It's kind of based on those old shows like Angel and those like UPN supernatural
Yeah,
shows.
Buffy and all of that.
Buffy.
Yeah.
Are they going to speak in Buffy speak too? Because that might be a downer. They just reading Buffy speak. You know, this thing that basically, well, Marvel drowning.
What's his face? What's his name? What's the guy who made that Buffy?
You know, the guy who directed.
Yeah, Avengers and I forget.
Joss Whedon.
Yeah, Joss Whedon.
Okay.
The Joss Whedonisms.
A bunch of the writers at Marvel copied his style, and this is another reason why Marvel Comics is drowning.
Garbage. Yeah. Well, I never liked I can't say that I like Buffy for the dialogue.
Yeah.
I liked it because they had interesting creatures and they did have some interesting concepts.
Yeah. That is why I watched it too and stuff. But honestly, I don't think anyone actually talks the way they talk in that show in real life. Thank God they don't. I mean, there are people you might hear us talking like that when you're on Twitter, but nowhere else. I doubt even SJWs talk like that in real life. But yeah, I can't believe it. Not to mention, it's hard to believe that so many shows copied Buffy the Vampire Slayer for a while, and basically everyone basically acted like that and had on those shows. It became that popular. I mean, well, the WB superhero shows are a bit different from that. Thank God. I mean, well, all except for Supergirl and Batwoman. If those shows probably are pretty much the same, but then again, I don't watch them. But so many superhero shows are probably a bit different from Buffy the Vampire Slayer is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm a biggest watcher of those shows anyway. I mean, I used to tune in occasionally, but I never got actually into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only comparing it because when Buffy the Vampire Slayer came out on TV, a bunch of TV shows were copying her right off the bat. But once the Flash and Green Arrow and the Flash came out, a bunch of TV shows like that came out.
Yeah. Well, that's what they do. Back in the days, they used to have everybody used to try and find their niche and exploit it. But now it seems like everybody's trying to jump on the same niche that everybody else finds and wear it out.
Pretty much.
Well, people, I don't want it to go too long this week.
All right.
3 hours, I think, is good enough. I'm going to try and shorten up these streams. I don't mind them being explosive, but I don't want them to be running 5 and 6 and 7 hours unless we're going to be selling something.
Yeah.
Or unless we have some good content, some really good, exciting content. So,
all right. Well, folks, remember, you can tune in for my own live stream at 6 o'clock. Be there for that one.
Okay, I'm going to try and get back in here for that time. What time is it now?
6 o'clock.
Oh, it's already 6?
No, it's actually it's 5:32. My show starts at 6 o'clock.
Oh, so that means an hour from now.
No, it's 5:32 right now. I'm looking at my clock.
Oh, so half an hour from now.
Yep, pretty much.
Because I got 6:30, 6:34. So I'm already past 6 o'clock. So at 7 o'clock it is for me. I'll see if I can get back in here and hop on for a little while with you.
All right. That sounds good.
Yeah, I'll be there.
All right. See you all then. Bye.
All right, man. I'm gonna call it a wrap for story time this week. Thanks to House Rebel and Chris Williams at Reading Comics Are Bad For You. Read comics, they're bad for you.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next week with more story time and more stories to tell. So until then, hail Comicsgate and praise the goddom.
All right. See you later.
Later, guys.
Later.